Good morning, dear children. Welcome to today's class. Let us start our day with a wonderful thought. A river cuts through rock not because of its power, but because of its persistence. Now, let us continue with lesson number 7, joint bar graph. In the previous video, you have learned reading a joint bar graph, also drawing a joint bar graph. There, we have seen steps for drawing a joint bar graph. Now, before starting with practice set 31, let us recall the steps for drawing a joint bar graph. So, children, get ready with your textbook, notebook, and graph paper. Let us recall drawing a joint bar graph. For that, first on a graph paper, draw the x-axis and y-axis and their point of intersection. So children, last year as we have did, while drawing simple bar graph, we have first drawn x-axis and y-axis and their point of intersection. Here, for joint bar graph also, you have to follow the same step. That is, first you will draw x-axis and y-axis and their point of intersection. Then choose a suitable scale for the y-axis. For that, you have to look at the data and accordingly you have to choose the suitable scale for the y-axis. Then using the scale, work out the height of columns required. Now here we will see the information or the readings given in the given table and accordingly we will draw the height of the columns. Then use different colors to show the different bars in each set. So children, here you can use different colors, also different texture to show the information of two different persons or two different data. Now, in a joint bar graph, the width of all columns should be equal. That we have followed while drawing simple bar graph. We have to follow the same thing for drawing joint bar graph also. The distance between any two consecutive sets of joint bars should be equal. Here again we have to follow the same thing, that the distance between any two consecutive set of joint bars should be equal. Now let us start with practice set 31. Let us go through question number 1. The number of saplings planted by schools on World Tree Day is given in the table below. Draw a joint bar graph to show these figures. Now children, look at the table here. Here in this table, here the names of the schools are given, whereas here names of the saplings are given. Here names of the saplings are Almond, Karanj, Neem, Ashok and Gulmohar, whereas names of the school are Nutan Vidyalay and Bharat Vidyalay. Now here if you look at the table, these are the number of saplings planted by Nutan Vidyalay and Bharat Vidyalay. So Nutan Vidyalaya planted 40 saplings of almond, whereas Bharat Vidyalaya planted 42 saplings of almond. Similarly, here the number of Karanj saplings planted by Nutan Vidyalaya and Bharat Vidyalaya. Also, the different types of saplings planted by these two schools are given. So you have to go through the information and accordingly you have to draw the joint bar graph. First, you have to, as you look at the numbers, here all the numbers are given in tens. That is, here the smallest number is 15, the bigger one is 72. So we have to take the scale in the form of 10, 20, 30, 40 and so on. So let us start with it. Children, this is the graph paper. Everyone know? Here this is the graph paper. Here the distance between two bold lines is 1 centimeter. If you measure it using scale, you will get it as 1 centimeter. Also, we will tell it as 1 unit. Here, if you see the distance between two horizontal line as well as two vertical line, the distance is same. Here, these are the squares formed by the intersection of horizontal and vertical lines. Now, first of all, we will draw the x-axis and y-axis. Here, the x-axis is the horizontal line drawn at the bottom of the paper, whereas y-axis is perpendicular to x-axis. It is drawn vertically on the left-hand side of the paper. Here the point of intersection of x and y axis is origin, we represent it using 0. Now here we will see what information we will take on x-axis. Here we will write the names of the saplings. Here names of the saplings given in the example are almond, karanj, neem, ashok and gulmohar. Children, you have to keep your textbook with you whenever we are constructing this graph. Now if you look at how I wrote the name, here I left the first column blank, and then I took two columns for almond, then another, again I left one column blank, and then the next two columns I took for karanj. Similarly, one blank and two for neem, again one blank and two for ashok, and one blank, and the next two columns will be taken for gulmohar. Here the width of each bar should be 1 unit or 1 centimeter. Similarly, 1 centimeter or 1 unit distance is left blank between two joint bars. Now let us see what information we will take on y-axis. Here we will take the number of saplings. So on y-axis you have to write here number of saplings. Now here I wrote here 10, 20. First we are starting the scale with 0. So here this is 0, then 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90. Now here if you see the 1 unit, it represent 10 saplings. That is, if you look at this 1 centimeter, the small lines between this 1 unit, each represent 1 sapling. That is 1 millimeter represent 1 sapling. So here we will write the scale. What scale we are taking here? On y-axis, 1 centimeter is 10 sapling. That is 1 millimeter is 1 sapling. Now we will decide the texture for the bars for Nutan Vidyalaya and Bharat Vidyalaya. I am shading the bar that we will draw for Nutan Vidyalaya, and I will keep the bar for Bharat Vidyalaya as blank. You can take any other texture for the bars, or you can use any color. Now if you look at the example on page number 53, for Nutan Vidyalaya planted 40 saplings of almond. So we will draw the bar for Nutan Vidyalaya up to 40. So if you will see here, I had drawn the bar up to 40. I took the width of the bar as 1 centimeter, and Bharat Vidyalaya planted 42 saplings of almond. So I had drawn the bar up to 42. Here 2 millimeter I took for 2 saplings. After 40 we will take 2 millimeter. Children, here you have to use sharp pointed pencil for the construction of joint bar graph, so that you can show your perfection here in the diagram. Now here I left one unit blank, then I had taken 2 units for drawing joint bar graph for the saplings of almond. Then again we will keep the another unit blank. Then we will draw the bars for karanj. Now here if you look at the joint bar graph, here how many saplings of karanj were planted by Nutan Vidyalaya? 60. So we will draw the bar up to 60. And then you will shade it, because this is the bar shown for Nutan Vidyalaya. Then we will draw the bar for Bharat Vidyalaya. Bharat Vidyalaya planted 38 saplings of karanj. So you will draw the bar up to 38. Now here I am not giving any texture or any color for Bharat Vidyalaya, because we have decided it earlier. Now we will draw the bars for neem. Here Nutan Vidyalaya planted 72 saplings of neem. So we will draw bar up to 72. Now after drawing the bar up to 72, we will shade it. Then we will draw the bar for Bharat Vidyalaya. Here Bharat Vidyalaya planted 60 saplings of neem. So we will draw the bar up to 60. Here if you look at the scale, here the bar is taken up to 60. Now again we will not put any texture or color here, because for Bharat Vidyalaya we have selected the blank bars. Now for Ashoka, here Nutan Vidyalaya planted 15 saplings. Now we will draw the bar up to 15. So if you look at the scale on y-axis, here that is the lighted line. Here it represents 15. And Bharat Vidyalaya planted 25 saplings of Ashok. So you will draw bar up to 25. So if you look at the scale, Here, the number that is between 20 and 30 or 25 you will get in the center of 20 and 30, that you will draw it up to here. Then we will keep one again, 1 unit blank. Then we will draw the bar for Gulmohar. Here Nutan Vidyalaya planted 42 saplings. So draw the bar up to 42. And Bharat Vidyalaya planted 40 saplings. So you will draw the bar up to 40. So children, here in all we have completed the joint bar graph of example number 1. So what things you have to keep in mind? That first you have to draw the x-axis, then y-axis, then you have to select what information you will write on x-axis and what information you will write on y-axis. Accordingly, you have to write the scale, that is 1 centimeter what you are going to represent, and then you have to decide the texture. After doing all these things, we will start drawing the joint bar graph. So here we have completed example number 1. Children, you all have to do it using sharp pointed pencil and do it with perfection, so you will be able to do it correctly.